Hello, everyone, and welcome to my review of the New Mutants, the latest release post-lockdown here in the UK, starring Maisie Williams, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Blue Lunt. It tells the story of a group of New Mutants finding themselves in a hospital where some horror psychological elements are taking place, and it is them getting to the bottom of that mystery. This movie has been plagued by many delays. It was originally supposed to be coming out in 2017 and kept on being pushed back until 2020 happened, and finally here we are. With so much controversy surrounding this movie, is it worth your time? Let's find out. So before we get started with New Mutants, it's very important to me to address the news that broke overnight. Chadwick Boseman unfortunately lost his battle with colon cancer and passed away. Chadwick was a fantastic actor, starring in such movies as Black Panther, Da 5 Bloods, and Avengers Endgame and Infinity War. He will be very sadly missed, and his impact on people, particularly in the black community, has been massive and will be remembered for many years to come. With that in mind, let's get started talking about the New Mutants. My history with the X-Men movies is very checkered. X-Men 1 through 3 I never got along with. It was very early in my life, and it was at a time when liking superhero movies and pop culture stuff such as this was kind of really still frowned upon. I remember X-Men, the original trilogy, and the original Spider-Man trilogy done by Sam Raimi, kind of really put me off the superhero genre initially. I did not get back into superhero movies until Captain America: The Winter Soldier, very late on in the MCU. Since then, I have revisited both of those trilogies. I do now appreciate Sam Raimi's Spider-Man a heck of a lot, but the original X-Men trilogy for me is still very disappointing. I find it very cheesy and hammy, and I never really enjoyed any of those characters. I didn't grow up watching the original animated series, and since the original trilogy, I enjoyed First Class and I enjoyed Days of Future Past. The rest of the core X-Men movies I have not liked, as many others around the world have not. But then stuff like Logan, I find utterly incredible. Logan, for me, is the pinnacle of what a superhero movie can do, and probably, in my opinion, the best superhero movie out there today. Deadpool as well, the two Deadpool movies I found very enjoyable on first watch, but have lost a bit of its charm in viewing since. The humour obviously works very well on a first watch for the shock value of some of the crude humour in those movies. So really, for X-Men movies, they've been a tale of two halves. You've got the original trilogy, which I've found very frustrating, and then the stuff since, which has been a mixed bag in my opinion. So, getting to the New Mutants, for me is a fantastic movie. I really had a lot of fun with this, and that surprised me. I don't know whether it's been the fact that we haven't had new movies in the cinema for quite a lot of time now due to the coronavirus pandemic, but it did a lot of inventive stuff and a lot of new genre stuff within the superhero mantra. There are some issues with it, and we'll get to those later, but wholly, I really enjoyed this movie experience. So let's start off with some of the good stuff about the New Mutants. The New Mutants is principally the first superhero movie that's framed within the horror genre. You know, you have other superhero movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a space opera, and you have Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which is kind of an 80s spy thriller. And here with New Mutants, you have a very creepy, very atmospheric directing. Josh Boone is really in his element here. He's done other stuff in the past, like Fault in Our Stars, which is a completely different type of movie. And with the New Mutants, he shows that he's a very confident horror director. There are a lot of creepy, well-placed scares in this movie. As well as the genre being a really integral part to this movie, you also have some fantastic performances from the main cast. You've got the five principal New Mutants, and some standouts are obviously Anya Taylor-Joy as the kind of the bold, brash member of this kind of Breakfast Clubby type group. And the core relationship between Blue Lunt and Maisie Williams is really, really beautiful. It's probably the first LGBT relationship between two superheroes, and it's a fantastic, really sweet, nuanced relationship that these two characters have. It's not played for any kind of sadness or melodrama. It is just two people that find a lot of love between them. And I found that to be really kind of beautiful. And those two characters, especially beyond any other, really, really, really pulled me in and had me invested in this movie. Now, for a mixed aspect, this movie is pretty short. It only clocks in at 94 minutes, and when I first read that, I was kind of worried. Obviously, with all of the rumours about reshoots and a lot of studio involvement, I thought that meant we were going to be getting an incomplete movie. With that in mind, it is a complete movie. It's quite a small scale, intimate setting with a lot of the proceedings taking place in and around this hospital. But the thing is, while we get a complete narrative here from beginning to end, I was left kind of wanting a bit more. You could have really stretched out some of these character interactions and how the group plays off of one another. Whilst I thought the narrative was suffice, I could have done with a bit more here. Furthermore, as we've touched upon, this is a horror movie. However, I really, really wish they leaned a lot heavier into some of the scares. They are there and they are well earned. There's not a lot of jump scares as with many horror films today. But I just wish they spent a little bit longer with a little bit more runtime to really, really cement the horror aspects in this film. And as with any superhero movie, you have obviously a lot of CGI and special effects, and whether they are good enough in this movie is a kind of mixed bag. You've got a sequence at the beginning of the film where a character is running through a snowy landscape, and obviously you can see there's a lot of shaky cam, as well as the snow is not real. The snow is part of a CGI special effect. And in that instance, it really didn't work for me. The opening 5 minutes of this movie was very hard to watch and very hard to track what the character was doing in this landscape. But the thing is, as the movie went on, some of the horror aspects, which were obviously CG, and some of the superhero powers aspects, were a lot more confident in how they used the visual effects here. But overall, to sum up, please don't let these negative aspects cloud your judgment about the New Mutants. I thought I was in for a bit of a car crash here, what with all of the negative press and all of the pushbacks of the release date. But principally, this is a very confident, well-made, if a little underwhelming movie. You've got some fantastic character interactions and a really confidently directed horror movie, if I wanted a little bit more from those horror aspects. But principally, I found New Mutants a really shocking movie in the sense that I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. In relation to other X-Men movies, I'd probably put this in at least my top 5. Obviously, not a par on Logan or the Deadpool movies, but as I've said, my relationship with the X-Men movies are quite complicated, and this one I really, really enjoyed. So that was my thought on the New Mutants movie. If you have seen it, what did you think about it? Tell me, let me know. I love conversations about movies. I love talking movies. With that in mind, I will talk to you all again later. I want to get a review out for Tenet as soon as possible. Let me know how you found this episode. Bye!